Hi. Thanks for inviting me, Hillary. I appreciate it. And I wanted to say thanks to the capable employee resource group at Nationwide Children's first, for sure. Um, Aaron and Mike might be having a little trouble hearing. Can you guys hear me now? Yeah? Okay,
We can hear now.
fantastic. I saw that in the chat, so that's a good way to get started. Just make sure everybody can hear me, right? So
Yes, we were
thanks,
having
everybody.
audio issues. We could not hear. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm glad you can now, for sure. Good to
We
see you
can.
guys.
Thank you.
So anyway, what we're going to do today for about an hour is really exciting because we get to listen to two sides of the same coin. Basically, we get to listen to employers, managers, and the employees that they work with, that when work with them. And so we're going to go through a series of questions and answer, kind of a round robin style. And basically, I just wanted to say up front that this is so fantastic because we get to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the Employment First project, which happened got signed into an executive order by then Governor John Kasich about 10 years ago, almost to the day. That really helps Ohioans with disabilities and everybody else in the system and in the community appreciate the fact that employment for working age adults and kids transitioning out of school is probably the number one priority for them. And we want to make sure that we have every possible support aligned so they can get that job that they want. So I'm really excited to be able to talk about that. And there's a one-sheeter in the resources in the Google Drive for you guys that walks you through the history and all kinds of links to the Ohio Employment First website. Okay, I did my plug for the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities. That's where I work. My name's Keith Banner, and I'm the Community Life Engagement Project Manager down here in the Cincinnati area in Southwest Ohio, and I work for DODD to help providers, families, students, adults, everybody kind of move toward having the lives they want to have in the community. And that often includes, of course, getting the job that you want so you can live and work and play and have a little bit of money. So, or hopefully a lot of money. I'm going to go ahead and do a round robin style of introductions, if that's okay with you guys, to get started. And I'm going to call out your names and you guys can just tell us who you are and where you work, and then we'll move into some stories. So I'm going to start with Adam and Amanda.
Good morning. Thanks, Keith. Adam and Amanda here. We're at Cafe Bon Appetit, food service management company. We are specifically operating out of Denison University here. Amanda assists us in our main cafe dining hall, Curtis Hall, but we do have 7 locations on campus. We feed upwards of 2,000 people a day. So a large scale operation. Bon Appetit focuses on the farm to fork side of things, and a higher end kind of expectation from food service standpoint. But even with a focus on food and local sustainability initiatives, you know, we often say that we're a people first company, and this partnership, both with these organizations and specifically with team members like Amanda, we've got several, but she's been here the longest and has a great story here with us. It's really what we're all about, from our internal and external guests to our team members here to the communities that we live and work in. It's really been a great experience, and we're here to, you know, be that active member and support the communities in all aspects.
Fantastic. Amanda, do you want to tell us who you are?
You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Amanda.
Welcome.
3 years.
3 years.
Wow. Congrats, for sure. Thank you. I'm going to move on to Michelle and Bobby Ann.
Sorry, Bobby Ann.
Yeah. Good to be here, Keith. My name
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Well, my name is Bobby Ann, and I worked in Nationwide Children's Hospital for 5 years as a physical therapist, aide, cleaning toys, stocking, and everything else.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, and so I am Michelle Byers, and I am Bobby Ann's manager, and I oversee our physical therapy services at Nationwide Children's Hospital, just on the outpatient side of things. We are a really busy area of the hospital. And while Bobby Ann, kind of shares that her title is physical therapy aide, she also supports occupational therapy and speech therapy services as well. So we've been really happy having Bobby Ann with us. She started off part-time and moved into full-time, and we love having her.
I can't wait to hear all the details for the story on both sides of the coin. Like I said, thank you, Michelle and Bobby Ann. And then we have, last but not least, Aaron and Mike, if you don't mind telling us who you are.
Good morning, everyone. We are employees of Zanesville Steel, and Mike does assembly work for us. He assembles corrugated boxes, and he does about 300 boxes a day. And he brought some boxes with him today to show you what he does. So I'll let Mike talk about what he does here at Zanesville Steel.
Great. Hey, Mike.
Hi,
You want to tell him who you are?
what? Mike Sibley.
You gonna show us the box?
Ready for it.
And he builds components that go into a larger packaging component that ships workout equipment across the country.
Cool. Well, we'll hear more about that for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some questions, and I'm going to go down the line at first, right? I'll say, hey, let's start with maybe Adam and Amanda. I'm going to start with you guys, and then we'll go down the line, and I'll call you out and see if you want to say anything, and then hopefully as we get the ball rolling, you'll just chime in whenever you want. But it's kind of nice to start with a little structure, because we all kind of get like, what? Like, deers in the headlights. So I'm going to start with Adam and Amanda. And basically, the first question is kind of walking us through your journeys, both as employers, managers, and as employees. Like, what were some of the challenges when you started working and when you hired the folks? What did you do when a task was difficult? And maybe give us some examples. So I'm going to start with you, Adam, and then I'll repeat the question after you guys get through to the next round. So you ready, Adam and Amanda, to start?
You want me to do the task things?
Yeah.
I looked at Project Salt, C-Tech,
Hospital,
the hospital,
then here.
and then here.
So you had a lot of help before you even got the job to kind of learn about what you like to do and what you're good at. So they helped you kind of figure that out. Maybe years, it took a few years for you to figure that out. And then once you got that done, you kind of went to this job, sounds like. What was that like for you? Did you enjoy that process?
I really enjoyed it.
Okay, cool. Adam, what was it like for you guys? I know you guys really have reached out and kind of connected with these organizations to help you kind of fill some gaps in your, in your employers and employees. Why don't you tell us about that?
No, certainly. It's been a great experience. And one of the things that we've seen both with connecting with different organizations is similar to Amanda's story, that in the past, it exposes a lot of individuals to different scenarios. We're fortunate enough that Amanda, when she came to us, enjoyed that side of that public interaction, the students being out front, being able to assist them, and that she shined really well at doing, liked it, and then stayed on with us, and has been here for 3 years. I think offering that opportunity to a number of individuals that lets them experience that and find that spot that best suits them in the workforce. It's been great for us. It provides, it fills that gap. We have a lot of needs, obviously being in food service at specific times, meal periods, but not long shifts throughout the day. So it allows individuals also to ease into that workforce, or you may not, certainly not everyone's used to putting in 8 to 10 to 12-hour days. We wouldn't expect that at the beginning. These are generally at the beginning 2 to 4 to 6 hour shifts. And we can work within that, we can work around that. And right now we're Monday through Friday, and Amanda's primarily on day shift. And it's when we really need the help, because that's when we see the volume as well. So it's been beneficial. We also have a number of other employees at our other locations on campus. They vary in scope. Amanda's great up front. She did a little bit of serving this morning with the students, cleaning tables, restocking shelves. We've got other individuals who are, on the deli lines in the market, who are assembling sandwiches for students. And there's a lot of face-to-face interaction that's well received on both ends. And I think it's that personal connection that brings a smile to everybody's face. So.
Right. I think you're talking about like filling your needs as a business, and then also kind of working with somebody to help each individual employee kind of figure out where they fit. And then that kind of makes the relationship last. It sounds like it sustains that connection, maybe.
It does. It sustains that connection. And we have a good group here, specifically at Curtis, where, there's people that have been here for upwards of 30 and 40 years. And it's definitely a family style atmosphere. You really get comfortable with who you work with. You enjoy coming to work. And we see that from the students. They then feed off of that. No pun intended, right? They enjoy that, and it makes for a pleasant working environment. People enjoy coming in, not just to eat here, but also the employees enjoy to come in and have that interaction.
Fantastic. I'm going to move to Michelle, and unless you have anything else you want to say, Amanda, I want to shut it down before. Okay, cool. Tell me, just tell me, be quiet. I need to say something when you want to say something. So cool. Hey, Michelle and Bobby Ann, same line of question. You want me to ask it again, or do you got a good grip on it?
I think I got a good grip on it.
All right, well then lay it on us. What do you think about the challenges, and what did you do when I went ahead and asked the questions again anyway, that's me. What did you do when a task was difficult, and can you give us some examples?
I would mostly say the first day when I started working here, we're cleaning the mats with the Swiffer, because in all honesty, I've never held a Swiffer in my life. You go from not cleaning mats to cleaning mats. The toys, putting them away was difficult, and stocking the linens, but I got that down after 5 years of doing it. Comes natural.
So how did you get involved with the nationwide physical therapy unit? Did you kind of have any did you know about it before you started? How did you get involved, I guess, and get that job?
I got involved through Franklin County Board of Disability, and working for Project Search kind of helped me with it.
Gotcha.
It was a hospital setting, and I kind of felt like that was what helped me the most.
Kind of like Amanda, you had some chances to kind of learn about what jobs were and what you might like, and then you kind of got to actually get the job that you really wanted based on some experiences.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, Michelle, on the side of the manager employer, what are some of your thoughts around these obstacles and challenges that you've had and how you worked them through?
Yeah, so we are a really large organization, and with that, of course, we have a lot of policies, procedures, and things like that we put into place, and it does require a little thinking outside of the box. Like our orientation process is something that it can be a 4 to 8 hour day, depending if you need to sign up for benefits, and that's a long process, and we have like some annual training as well that can be really cumbersome. They're computer-based modules. We're all about safety and health. And so what we really found to work is just identifying what those needs were, and then providing that extra support through a job coach, using them intermittently. And so like when Bobby Ann started, or other individuals have started, we really utilized pretty heavily on that job coach, and have had some pretty good consistency. That way, once the job coach understands the task, it's pretty easy then to just say, hey, we got someone new, can you help us out? And Bobby Ann's still probably like once a year where our job coach comes out and helps us annually, but that's just been really helpful. I think a couple other things that I kind of learned is, therapies, it's a little bit, we're already commonly breaking tasks down into smaller bits and pieces to help our patients. And so for us to be able to help Bobby Ann break a task down into smaller bits and pieces, like, do you need something in writing? Do we need a picture book? Do we need need reminders in a certain way. Those sorts of things are they're easy to put into place. You just have to think to do that. And I think the other final thing that I can say is that, as a large employer, we typically only work directly with the individual we're hiring. And as part of that, I think with Bobby Ann, like this conference is a great example. This is a little unique, not really part of her job. And so for me, it's like thinking about like, how do we include Bobby Ann's family in knowing what's happening here at work? And so, we've really utilized either sending emails, printing things off, making sure that Bobby Ann is well supported, not only by us here at work, but by her family.
That's beautiful. I think it's like what Adam was saying about Amanda, the relationship that you have with the employee kind of becomes a part of the conversation. And I think that probably spreads into the relationships you might have with other employees without disabilities too. It kind of makes you see that the relationship you have kind of helps you, especially in this workforce situation we're in. Really, that's probably one of the key elements you learn about working with people with disabilities as employees, is that you got to get to know them, and then they'll be there for you, and they're a great asset to your organization. So anything else, Bobby Ann, that you want to add before I move on?
No, I think Michelle summed that up pretty well.
I got a lot of questions, so don't worry. You'll have a lot more chances to talk. Hey, we're going to move to Aaron and Mike, if you don't mind. And same question about obstacles, challenges you guys face, how you work through them. And I'll let Aaron and Mike take the stand. How did you get involved with where you're at, Mike? How did you get involved with Zanesville Steel?
Oh, let's see. Well, there was Fuse Network, and then you didn't really have to be much to get in there. Like, half of them already knew me, so.
Gotcha. Why don't you tell us too, Aaron, how you guys got connected with Mike and the situation there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we took on a project to assemble corrugated components for a customer of ours, and we reached out to the Fuse Network of Muscatine County and Muscatine County MRDD for assistance in closing the gap of assembly that we had employment-wise, and it's become a great relationship. As a small company, we are able to give close one-on-one attention from the top down to every employee. So Mike had already had several years of experience doing this same exact work. So when he came here, and it really wasn't a challenge at all. He fit in very well with us, but if there was a challenge, it was just him getting to know us and the new building and where to enter and how to clock in and those very small tasks that Mike learned very quickly. So we did, like Michelle said, we utilized the job coach. It was very helpful for us to get Mike on board quickly, and he still does use a job coach, but intermittently as needed, especially if we change a task or a function of his work. But we've had very small challenges. It's been such a great relationship with Mike and the Fuse Network, and it's helping us close the gap of that needed employment and it's a support task. The work that Mike does is so important to keep the rest of the machine moving, that his work is invaluable. So we are very blessed to have Mike and the rest of Mike's team with us to help us close that gap.
Mike, did you hear what Aaron said? Man, that's like a major compliment.
Yeah.
You're like a cog in the wheel of a machine and if you're missing, they'll miss you. Fantastic. So I wanted to just real quick talk to you, Aaron, about like the relationship you have with Fuse and with the county board. Did that just start in 2021, or did you have a relationship before, or how did that happen? Just real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Zanesville Steel, by our name, you can tell we work with steel and metal. So we build shipping racks, and a component of a shipping rack can be dunnage and corrugated parts and pieces. So we had a customer that needed help with corrugated work, and we had some extra space in our facility, and this just came up in mid 21. So we took on the project, and we kind of developed a whole nother area of our business separate from welding and fabrication. So this is a brand new function for our company. And one of the first people I reached out to was MRDD locally in Muskegon County, and they helped us. It was a very easy process. The relationship has been cooperative, and they are just as eager to staff us as we are to get it staffed and up and running. So it's been a great relationship. So it just happened 6 months ago. But
so you're really new into the relationship. Sounds like you just kind of started it. And I think that was what I was getting at, because your 3 stories, businesses and employees, there's a wide range of ways to make it happen. Like there's project search and learning about the job and then kind of landing it. And then you, in this situation as a manufacturer, you kind of just reached out because you had a business need, and you connected with them, and they had folks that were already doing similar kinds of work, and you made a relationship kind of yield some results by just kind of talking, and you had this new project, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. And you kind of connected with them. Fantastic. So, and they can serve a business need just as much as, helping people with disabilities too. So it's a really good thing. All right. That was the first line of questions. Do you guys have anything you want to add before I move into some more questions around what each of you have said? Then I'll dive into the next set, and we'll go to, if you don't mind, we'll start with Michelle and Bobby Ann on this next question, and then we'll move around again. So here we go. This one's about the manager and the employer. What have you, as the manager, learned through supporting the employee? Michelle, what have you learned about Bobby Ann as the manager and the employer?
Yeah, I guess at this point, so we're 5 years into this, and so everything just feels so normal. I guess I can't really, like, when I think about like Bobby Ann coming to work, it's like I don't want to dismiss her contributions, but part of it's like she's here, she's doing her job, and the days just go on, and she's just kind of part of the team. And I feel like it's what I've learned through supporting, like, it's pretty intuitive to me to be able to make it work. And it's really been rather easy. And I know that probably it doesn't hold true in every situation, but it's just like Bobby Ann came to us and she had this incredible skill set. And so I think for us, it's just been a natural fit the whole time. And I guess I would just say it's been easy and joyful to support her.
Well, hey, yeah, let's go with that. Hey, for sure. Bobby Ann, do you want to talk about, on the other side of that question, what you've learned through being supported, learning and gaining skills, and just, having a job and of what you want to do? What have you learned?
I've just learned from being here, it's a job. This is gonna be a part of your life if you get out of high school, for a project search, whatever support system you have. This is gonna be your future. If you like it or not, turns out you're probably not gonna like it at first, and if you don't, it's gonna be over. But if you find that second job, you're gonna like it, and you're gonna be here for 5 years like me, because I worked in a rest home for my first job, didn't like it, and I found it here. So
that is something I think that we need to really lean into, is the fact that this isn't just about going one place and staying there the rest of your life. That sometimes you have like anybody else on earth, you have a job that maybe you don't like, and you have the supports you need to maybe make a change when you get to that point. It sounds like you were able to make a change and find something you really wanted to do.
I did.
I think that sometimes we don't talk about that too much because we're so worried about getting the first job or getting a job that we don't kind of lean into the fact that we want to make sure that people that we support have the opportunity to kind of come back and say, you know what, I'd like to maybe get a promotion here, or do something else here, or I might like to go somewhere else and figure the situation out. So I appreciate you bringing that up, because we don't talk about that enough. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else before I move on to Adam and Amanda?
No.
All right. Same question, you guys. About first, I'll talk to the manager there. Adam, what have you learned about supporting your employee? And then I'll ask the flip on the other side. So I'll hear from you first, Adam.
Sure. Yeah, I certainly, can appreciate and echo some of Michelle's statements, right? It's been 3 years here. Amanda's been here and it's more routine at this standpoint. I think I'd probably be more surprised or if she wasn't here and we didn't have that interaction in the front of house with our team and with our guests. But we've learned specifically here as a group of managers not to assume or underestimate anyone's ability, but to also give them not just the opportunity, whether it's their first job, their second, to that point, the opportunity to explore other options. Just because someone may not like cleaning and stocking and being in the front of the house doesn't mean that the back of the house, there's not something else there for them. It's just as productive and meaningful in those interactions to support the overall team. So I think it's certainly not assuming anything based on ability or preconceived notions, but really exploring that and then engaging that. And I think building that relationship opens up the both lines of communication so that people feel more comfortable in communicating what they are interested in and what they are looking for. And getting through that, you find the best piece, the best spot for that person. And then it benefits the entire team. And that's certainly what we've found and what we've been able to do here. So it's been great.
Do you want to maybe talk a little bit, Amanda, about how what you've learned being an employee there at Bon Appetit? Anything you want to add or say? You're good?
You tried the other jobs and then you like this one. What were some of the trial and error? What were some of the things that the managers did that helped you find how you liked it here?
Helping me how to like do tables and stuff.
So you got a chance, like Adam's saying, to kind of figure out the jobs you do like and maybe kind of being able to have those jobs as what you come to work for. Sounds like. And you can tell you guys have a relationship and you can kind of talk together. And we're kind of giving an example of that just by being here on this WebEx thing. So I'm going to move on to Aaron and Mike, and the same question, Aaron, around what you've learned through supporting Mike, and then we'll ask Mike.
I saw in the Q&A that someone asked to turn up our microphone. I think my setting's as high as it'll go. Can everyone hear us okay?
It's a little muffled from my end, but I turned up my volume a little. And I can hear you pretty well. Okay. It's just muffled, but yeah.
Okay. I apologize. I'm not sure why. The volume is up as high as it'll go on a microphone end, so I apologize. But so our management team has learned. I think the biggest thing that they have learned through this process in the last 6 months is that we can never assume what someone can or can't do. And I think through the right training and support, we can figure out a way for everyone of every ability to find a way to accomplish the goal. So I think that is the biggest takeaway that our managers have noticed is, never assume. So, but other than that, it's been such a positive experience and everything's working so well. We really don't have, everything's it's going really well.
And it sounds like you have a place to go to, obviously, if you do need some help figuring things out too. So that's always in the background, but you guys work it through. Sounds like most of the time without a lot of needed support outside of what you guys have in-house.
Absolutely. The employees that were here have also, our current employees, when Mike, became an employee, the employees that were already here worked so well with him to get to know him and learned how to support themselves. So yeah, it's like Mike's been a part of the family forever, so it just works really well.
Great. Mike, do you have anything you want to add, like what you've learned kind of being an employee there at Zanesville Steel?
Hmm. I don't know, but
You like the atmosphere. You have
yeah,
a pretty good time when you work there.
yeah,
Cool.
what? They're all
Great.
saying, they're all here, not all fit.
Well, fantastic. I'm gonna, hey, Aaron, there's a question in the chat that just popped
Okay.
up.
Okay.
And we may have already talked about this. I think we have, but I'll ask it and then we'll move backwards to everybody else. But it says, this may have already been answered. How are these connections made with you guys, with the employers? Are these referrals from schools and county agencies? Is there certain age ranges for these programs and employers? I think, Aaron, you kind of talked about this already. I'll paraphrase what you said and then you tell me if I'm getting it wrong. It sounds like you had a need, that you had a new project as a business in the world, and one of the places you thought about reaching out to, because you just thought maybe there would be some people that might be able to do the work, is the county board and Fuse Network. So is that basically the story, or is there anything I'm missing?
There is a little back history. My father owned a restaurant for 40 years, and I grew up in that restaurant with him. And he had personal connections with, and the agencies were different back then. We're talking, 30, 35 years ago, I
Yeah.
think, when he developed his relationship with the local agencies. But he also hired employees through what would be now the MRDD program and the Fuse Network. So I had already had experience with those programs, and I already knew how successful they were. So I knew where to go because of that experience. And I saw the need and identified it quickly that we could fill this need easily. But it was my first experience as a business owner with those programs directly. So we kind of
Gotcha.
already had a history just from previous work experience.
And I think that's something to put in, if there are employers on the WebEx today, to think about, is like, whether or not you have experience. Now we have somebody named Aaron who runs a business, who actually had that experience to know that it could work, and you reached out, and that's probably advice you could give to other businesses to maybe take that chance based on your experience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, I'm going to go back to you, Michelle, around the same question. It sounds like you guys have really strong relationships, obviously, with different partners. So could we maybe talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, are you referring, I know I saw a question in the chat about the job coaches. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Well, here it is how are these connections made with these employers? Are these referrals from schools and county agencies?
Yeah.
Is there certain age ranges for these programs and employers?
Yeah, so I kind of was a bit of a lone wolf here at Nationwide Children's Hospital, because I actually started making connections probably about 7-8 years ago, before we really even had anything formalized here at our organization, and really had a strong focus on disability awareness and employment. And so I had someone out in the community just reach out to me, and it was actually through the Ohio State University TOPS program. And they had an intern that was interested in looking at employment as a therapy aide. And so what we ended up doing was creating an internship, and it was an opportunity for that individual to come in and kind of experience what the job is like. And I think for me, it was probably a nice way, and I recommend it to a lot of other areas within the hospital. This is a beautiful way to bring in are, because sometimes you think you know what the job entails, and what the skill set is required, what the personality of the individual might need to be, but until you really try it and experience it, I don't think you really have a full grasp. Same for like, how are you going to help this person learn the skills? What are the supports needed? So we actually had hired someone in the past, and then we were looking for someone, and actually reached out both to like the TOPS program and then Franklin County DD, and I just said, do you have any individuals who might be interested in this type of work? And that's just kind of how we found Bobby Ann. And do you want to share like your video? Because I think share some of the details of that.
Yeah, in Project Search, when I was learning how to do interviews, they made a little interview video showing me doing the mail and cleaning nurse server cards and everything that got me this job. Even though they also told me at Project Search nurse server cards wasn't really a job, but it helped me get this job here by cleaning.
You know what? I've seen that before. It's on, yeah, I think it's on the Employment First website. We have a bunch of those video resumes up. So in that one pager I put up for you guys on the Google Drive around Employment First, you can go to the Employment First website and see some of those video resumes, and they are fantastic because it cuts to the chase, and you get to actually, what everybody's saying, assume competence, assume you can actually see people doing the work that they can do. So I'm glad you guys mentioned that, because that's a really important thing. Is sometimes we have to get over some ideas that people aren't competent by actually just showing them, yeah, they can do all this stuff. So thanks for mentioning that. The question I think too is about job coaches, which you mentioned, Michelle, and where they come from, basically, and all that kind of stuff. So with you guys there with Michelle, and I'll ask it of everybody else too when I get to them. The job coaches come from?
Yours is from Franklin County.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I feel like truly about 7-8 years ago, I just have made those connections. And I mean, it has just really been so helpful. And it's not something, the county provides the service. It's not something our organization pays for that.
Gotcha.
But it is something that we utilize when we need it. When we don't need it, zero need to have one for Bobby, and other than like the once a year when we have those really tricky learning modules that she has to complete.
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer because it's very specific to each person,
Yeah.
each job seeker, and each employee. But there's a wide range of ways to look at it. County boards, the opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities, which is the state vocational rehabilitation agency that helps people with disabilities. They'll help with job coaches. So there's a wide variety of ways to get the service if you need it. So, and that'll be obviously in your resource guide there in the Google Drive to complete that question. I'm going to go to Adam and ask the same stuff around job coaching and all that kind of stuff, just to flesh that out, and then we'll end on and then get to another question here with you guys.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, and we certainly reached out to those agencies and county offices and departments over the years, which is how Amanda got here. Did have a job coach at one point, but have moved past that since then. And we still have a number of team members here that still have that. I think we have Amanda and at least 2 others who have moved on from needing a job coach, given their time here and the success. And then there's a few others that are continuing in programs similar to that. But for us, it's always been about, building the team and with meaningful people in those relationships and those small gaps of time that work best for her and her lifestyle and our needs. And when you couple those 2 things together, it's been a good fit. So we've been working with a number of those agencies across the years, and really even more so now than ever, just given the staffing and labor crunch that we're seeing.
Yeah, and job coaching is an art, because you start off trying to figure out what the person, like you, Amanda, or anybody else needs, and then you kind of work and move in that way and help the employer with the training, and then you kind of usually fade out, but you're always in the background if needed, right? So I think that's kind of something to tell about job coaches. So Amanda, do you have a job coach now, or are you pretty much doing it on your own?
I'm pretty much doing it on my own.
And so if you need a little help now and then, Adam knows he can reach out to the organizations he mentioned, but it sounds like you're pretty cool just the way you are, and you're doing the gig. So fantastic. So I'm going to stay with you guys real quick and ask another question, if that's okay. And we got like, about 15 minutes left, man, this is going by quick. So we kind of touched on this already, but I wanted to make sure we get that in the picture. Is how has the work environment improved with Amanda on board? This one's for you, Adam, and then I'm going to ask you a question after Adam answers Amanda.
No, it's certainly improved, and I think it starts off small and incremental, and then snowballs into, she's 3 years in, she's a part of the team, she's a part of the family, and our team members appreciate that at the very beginning, right? There's an additional person, there's relief. We're not asking less people to do more. So they appreciate that help. But then as you get to know Amanda, as you get to know individuals, right? She opens up, the team opens up. And 3 years in, she's part of the family. And I'll say Amanda at least says hi to most of the students that walk in that door, most of the because other times she's busy, right? But everyone that sees her gets a smile and a glow. And that is meaningful to a lot of people. On our team and from a student's perspective. So it's been a great improvement to the overall atmosphere. We certainly appreciate the support when we need it the most. But it's a warm, friendly, smiling face too that the team appreciates. So, and it helps bring everybody up.
Amen. So, hey, Amanda, how has working there improved your life? What's the best, what is the thing you're most proud of in your life because you work there?
Just got your apartment.
Just got my apartment.
Excellent.
Yep.
Anything else?
Yeah, Amanda works with transit most days, and earlier this week celebrated a 24th birthday. And
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
this
You're welcome.
past year got her first apartment, so she moved out. And
Wow, come on, you need to brag about yourself a little more. I mean, that's amazing. Yeah. And that was a question that we wanted to talk about too, is transportation. It sounds like the way you get to work is through just regular transit there in the Columbus area. I bet the school maybe has a transit, or how does that work for you guys for transit getting there?
she's Licking
I use Licking.
County Transit.
Fantastic.
University doesn't it's on the circuit, but doesn't have something independent itself. But I think in 3 years, there's been one day, one challenge that we've had with the transit for Amanda. So that's a pretty good record over the course of time.
Well, congrats on everything that's happened, and especially your birthday, but getting your own place and getting to work on time. Thank you. Hey, I'm going to move to Zanesville Steel, and Aaron and Mike real quick. Same question to you, Aaron, that I asked Adam around how has the work environment improved with having Mike on board?
Like I mentioned, what the work that Mike and everyone in that department does is so critical to being able to support the final product that it's integral. We couldn't do it without them. So if Mike wasn't here, we would have to replace him with someone. He's an integral part, and the job coaches have made it so easy. And sometimes we do have new products that we add to the line. So when we do that, we're able to give the job coaches a heads up, and we can communicate directly with them to give them, we're going to be bringing on something new. Mike might need some extra support getting to know this new product. So it's seamless.
Fantastic. Hey, what does it mean working there for you, Mike? How has it improved your life?
Yeah, like here, out there just sitting around doing nothing. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And Mike does also have transportation that's organized directly through the Fuse network. The transportation is reliable, and it's not an issue. Never been an issue in the 6 months. So
let's do a shout out to Fuse Network for sure. Thank you, Fuse Network. And it is better than sitting around doing nothing, right? I mean, it really is. So words to live by. Hey, I'm going to move to Michelle and Bobby N now, and same question, if you don't mind, around how has it improved the work environment, and then we'll get into the transportation stuff too.
Want me to start or you?
You can start.
Okay. So I think just kind of understanding like the work environment that Bobby Ann and I are in, and it's working with young children, many of which do have lifelong disabilities. And I think is like we really just can't think about where how they're going to be adults and where, and that was kind of exciting force for me. But kind of when our families come in, I think Bobby Ann's an amazing ambassador. I mean, I hope that it allows other families to kind of see what potential is out there and giving that opportunity to say that my child can have gainful employment. Just in general, though, I think, Bobby Ann is just upbeat, happy, and I can't tell you the number of patients that we have come in. The little kids are just like, where's Bobby Ann? Where's Bobby Ann? I need to see her. I need to say hi to her today. Sometimes that's their reward. If you work hard, you can go talk to Bobby Ann.
Wow.
So she's much loved here. But you want to talk about what makes you happy here and your transportation too?
Those are what
Two
makes me
things.
happy. Yep. Those are what makes me happy here, seeing the patients and saying hi to all the therapists I know. It's really confusing sometimes with therapists because they go to different locations and it's different people. So I always tell them, don't be ashamed if I don't remember your name by the day we meet. I mean,
Me too. I keep looking at my paper because I want to get everybody's name right, and it's even on the screen and I'm still nervous. So anyway, how is transportation working for you, Michelle? How do you get to work?
I go to work for the taxi service through FM Transportation.
Okay.
Sometimes they're really good in the mornings. In the afternoons, they're somewhat iffy. I'm ending up waiting here for I don't know how long. And sometimes I just have my grandma come get me if they
Gotcha.
don't make it. So
Transportation is probably one of the number one kind of things you got to think about when you're looking into obviously work and employment in the community. So I'm glad that we get to mention it and that it's not perfect. And I'm sure everybody that has a job that's out there listening kind of can feel what you feel about, having to wait and having to call grandma eventually. So thanks for telling us. We're coming up on what? Oh my gosh, 10 minutes left. So I wanted to maybe kind of start wrapping it up. And the biggest question that I think everybody who's on would want to know is what kind of advice and we've kind of talked about this all the way through, I think, but what would you tell a high school student who's thinking about getting a job? And maybe we'll start with, since we're here with you already, Michelle and Bobby Ann, we'll start with you and then we'll move into the other folks. But hey, I'll start with you, Bobby Ann. What would you tell a high school student who's thinking about getting a job? What's your advice?
My advice would be, this will be your life. This will be your future life as you get out of high school, college, work program. Like me, you don't get your summers off. You don't get your spring breaks or summers off anymore. Because when I was part-time, I used to get off at 11:30. I had a little bit of that. But now full-time, you don't get that. And you're going to make great money if you get in a workplace.
Gotcha.
To go out to movies, hang out with your friends.
Yeah, allows you to do all that kind of things.
Yeah, I think that's something that we don't talk about enough is all the stuff that we usually want to do when we're not working or doing something else is fun stuff. And guess what? You got to have the loot, the money to do it. And that's really something we need to help people kind of get an understanding of is the more you work, the better it is for your pocketbook usually. So thank you for saying that. And I'm going to ask you one more question, Bobby Ann. What is expected and needed of folks as they enter the workforce? What are the expectations that you've seen?
Mostly doing your job correctly and not do this myself, which I don't. Most you goofing off. You don't want to see. I don't think Michelle ever sees this, but you don't want your manager or anyone see you on your phone or technology rise. And from what I've been here for 5 years, I have my phone, but it's mostly in my pocket because I got other things to do. Like, and if I have time, I play on my phone on my break, not on my work. Because if your employers or anyone you work with sees that, you're like, you're not doing your job. You're just playing around on the internet or YouTube.
Man, you could become a job coach, Bobby Ann.
Yeah, I got that a lot.
Okay, yeah, you got it going on. So, hey, Michelle, do you have advice that you want to give on the side of manager and employer to prospective people that are looking at, transitioning or even just getting a job?
Yeah, I think it's really that allowing, like if I were a prospective like student looking for employment, I really do think exploring different options. It's a great place to start is matching your skill set. But as Bobby Ann mentioned, her first job, she had the right skill set, but it wasn't the right environment. And so trying to find that right environment where you feel good and fit in. And I think from the employer side, I really would stress the importance of, get connected with these organizations, try out some of those internships. And, I think as well, what's made everything so successful here is I have a lot of like supportive allies, people who want to make this work and are willing to kind of answer those questions when I'm not around, when Bobby Ann's other leaders aren't around, and can kind of help out. I do want to give some props here to Bobby Ann. We have a lot of interns that come to us from different Project Search, OSU TOPS, Franklin County DD will reach out. So we've had, I don't know how many interns, but Bobby Ann is actually a mentor for us. So she is the person who they report to. She's the person who kind of teaches them the job skills, and is really like, especially Project Search, you are the mentor. So it's
You are kind of a job coach. I kind of guessed right. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. So it's I think as an employer, it's like it's not just on you to try to figure this out. You have got so many people who want this to be successful, and they're out there willing to help you do that.
That's beautiful. Thank you. You got anything else you want to add, Bobby Ann?
I got one more thing to say. For all your managers out there, or your managers, anyone who's watching, give these students a chance to work in a workforce. You'll do wonderful.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to ask Aaron the same question I asked these guys. Yeah, you guys did fantastic. Thank you. Aaron and Mike, what advice would you give to job seekers or high school kids transitioning to the workforce? What advice would you give? I'll start with Aaron, then we'll check in with Mike.
I think I agree exactly with what Michelle said. I would say exactly the same thing that she said. There are matches out there in your community. It may take time to find the perfect match that is skill set and environment that is comfortable. It's worth the search. But you have to put yourself out there and try and just keep looking. But I would say exactly what Michelle said.
And I think, Mike, you kind of said it too. You said it's better than sitting around and doing nothing, right? So that's what you'd say to probably the teenagers coming out of high school. Like, what are you going to do? Sit around doing nothing? You got to get a job, right?
Be sure just come in here or just get the help or help out and try to find the everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Work to do.
Exactly. And then we can go over just a little bit. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the Q&A for me and I'll read them out. But I'm gonna go to Adam and ask him and basically the same question. What advice would you give to job seekers and to other businesses, Adam? And then I'll check in with Amanda too. So Adam, if you don't mind starting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd engage, for me, those employers, understand that there's a wide variety of capable people out there and give them that opportunity. Understand the expectations that you need within your work, within the business, and then work with those agencies to fill those matches, and keep an open mind. You might, as individuals find the right fit for them, you want to find the right fit for the business. So you might go through a few people. That's part of the process. But when you do find a meaningful match, it's just that. It's going to be there for years. It's going to be a winning relationship, and it is well worth it, certainly, from our perspective.
Amanda, do you have any advice you'd like to give?
Having advice and having fun.
Have fun? Excellent. You know what? I think we've talked about work like, oh my God, it's work, but it is fun. It sounds like you have a good time with the students who come through and hang out and eat there where you work, and it is kind of fun. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Sounds like all you three of you guys that they're employees there all have fun in at your jobs, and it's maybe something we miss out of when we're just kind of always talking about it's work. It's kind of fun too, right? Hey, you know what? You got anything else you want to add, Amanda? I don't want to cut you off if you had something else.
No.
We're at I'm such a time freak. Have you guys noticed? It's like 9:59, and I'm like, but we can go over a little bit, and I wanted to make sure we have any questions or anything. You know what? That is a good question. I saw come through. Are any of you guys hiring as businesses? And I'll go down the line. Adam, are you hiring?
We are, and I'll say for us, I know it's different from some of the other businesses in that we are primarily seasonal with the school year. So there, holidays, there's breaks, the summers are off. There's other sectors in our business that do work year round, but this is something that summers are off, and holidays, winter break, that type of thing. So we are, and certainly Hillary or anybody can pass along my information if there's individuals looking for something. Yes.
Perfect. Michelle, are you guys hiring at in your neck of the woods?
My particular department, we are fully staffed, but again, this would be a great thing for Hillary. She might have a better pulse on some of the other departments in our hospital. I know there's been ongoing conversations. So that would be a great thing for us to be able to point out and see if she's aware.
Fantastic. And then I'm going to go. Oh, Hillary's on. You want to answer the question, Hillary?
Yes, NCH is currently hiring many people throughout the organization at many different levels.
Thank you, Hillary. You popped in like magic. Hey, Aaron, are you guys hiring at your place?
Yes, we are actually going to be expanding the department that Mike works in. So we will be hiring in that department in the coming months.
Thank you. And there's a question around what is Fuse Network, and in the question box, and basically I can start answering it, Aaron, and say if I'm wrong. Is that cool? It's a provider of employment supports to people with developmental disabilities in Muskegon and other counties in Southeast Ohio.
Yes.
And they're a really strong advocate for helping people find jobs in the community, and they help them. I think Mike's a good example of that. So did I miss anything on that one, Aaron?
They also coordinate job coaching and the transportation. So they take care of the employment, all aspects of employment, and also helping seek employment. Yes.
Okay, thank you for adding that on. So you know what? I think we're going to kind of come to a close. I wanted to thank you guys so much. This has been a lot of fun for me just to be able to listen to you, and thank you for answering all my questions and being there for us. And I think really the main thing I'm taking away from today is assume competence, reach out when you need some help, both business and people with disabilities who have jobs. And basically, it'll work out if you just kind of figure out what your needs are, and you can find the place that you need to go that could possibly help you with some of these staffing shortages and workforce crisis stuff that's happening. So this has been very, very important information for a lot of folks. So thanks again to all of you. Do you have any final things you want to say before we scoot? I'm looking at your faces on the screen. It sounds like if anybody has anything else they want to add, I'll open it up. But otherwise, I think we'll say goodbye. All right. Thank you, guys.